Welcome back. Today we're going to address one of the most vital keys to your personal success and even your longevity. This is the fourth key to your indestructible life, and it is represented by the letter R in our aware keys. That's right. Tonight we're going to talk about your relationships. The truth is, if you are not happy in your relationships, you are not happy. I love the quote I've seen floating around social media, which says, relationships are a walk in the park, Jurassic Park. So what are some of the secrets to great, fulfilling relationships, and how can you make sure that you're building the best ones possible? Today, I want to start out by giving you a glimpse into a relationship between a father and his child. Why is this important in building an indestructible life? Well, quite frankly, the act of having loving relationships in your life is also a blue zone trait, and it actually helps you in your indestructible strategies to live longer and better in these crazy times. There are two main blue zone practices within the relationship key area, and they are termed loved ones first and right tribe. What do these mean? Well, loved ones first means that those who have successfully lived to 100 years old and beyond have put their families first. This means investing in multi-generational relationships, not just your spouse. Researchers have found that committing to your life partner by itself can add up to 3 years to your life expectancy. But adding the multi-generational relationship aspect can enhance that even more. Blue zones also have right tribe relationships. Now, right tribes are social circles that support healthy behaviors. In Japan, the Okinawans created what they call moais, which are groups of 5 friends that committed to each other for life. Why is this important? Because research has shown that behaviors are contagious. Smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. Some people have suggested that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And in many ways, I've seen that to be true. So, like I mentioned to you earlier, I want to start out by introducing you to a father and his child. Who are they? Well, you are extremely fortunate because before his passing, we were able to have our relationship key expert, Mike Tucker, sit down with the legendary comedy actor, Tim Conway, who will forever be loved for his roles on The Carol Burnett Show and movies like The Apple Dumpling Gang. He was joined by his son, Tim Conway Jr., a very successful radio personality on AM 640 Los Angeles. So sit back and enjoy this father and son reflect on their relationship.
I'm joined by 2 of the funniest men in the world, Tim Conway and Tim Conway Jr. Welcome, guys.
An unusual name, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you're Tim Conway, too.
Yeah.
To get all 3 together.
It's amazing. It really is.
Who would have thought?
Well, we're talking about dads today. So, Tim, what's your approach to fatherhood?
Well, first of all, I tried to avoid it, and
that didn't work out.
Pretty
good
job.
Yeah.
Try not to tell the kids where I've moved because they'll only come over and can give us a couple of bucks. And no, I have 6 children, 7 with a stepdaughter, and it just it's been a joy. It really has. I didn't expect to have that many, but there you go.
But it happened anyway.
And to have 6 wonderful kids has been a joy of my life. They made me say that.
Yeah. Tim,
that's not entirely true.
No, is that right? Tell me about that.
Well, you get with 6 kids, you get 6 different personalities.
Of course.
Yeah. No, but my dad never was into yelling or hitting.
Okay.
My mom did most of that. But
well, he didn't have to.
Yeah, right, exactly. But here's an
cop,
example of discipline that my dad would lay on us. During high school, my curfew was midnight. I'd be home midnight, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I got home about 4:30 in the morning one day.
This is just a test.
Yeah. And I get into bed, and my dad wakes me up at 9 o'clock. He says, what time did you get home last night? I said, about 11:58-ish, around there. So, and he says, well, that's funny because the LA Times gets delivered at 4 in the morning. And he walks away. And I said, wait a minute, so what does that have to do with me? He says, well, your car's parked on it.
So So it didn't really work out.
No, it didn't.
You see the problem there.
Yes, I see.
But it's his way of not yelling at you or hitting you, just
Yes.
saying next time.
But he
do
called
that.
you out,
Right,
definitely.
exactly.
So what was it like growing up with this guy as your father?
Well, we didn't meet. I actually didn't meet him until I was 35.
I see.
Kept us away from it. No, I mean, I never had a father who wasn't in show business, so I didn't really know. But he was always home on weekends. We always go to Builder's Emporium, which is like the new Home Depot.
Yeah.
You always have to, relate what the old stuff was. And around the house, just hung out near the pool. He never really had a lot of friends who were on camera. A lot of the guys that were the writers and producers and lighting guys and sound guys would hang out. So.
Yeah. Now, you have a very popular radio talk show. Did you go into the business because of your dad?
Well, I tried television a little while, and somebody said, "You've got a face for radio." And I said, well, let's go that route then.
And that's worked
Much
out
better,
well.
yeah.
Right.
Has having him as your dad helped you with your career? Has it been a hindrance?
Well, it's unfortunate. I got my mother's sense of humor. So, no, but my dad actually did call me one day, and he said, "Hey, just listen to your radio show, and it sounds like you have comedy in your blood." And I said, "Well, thank you." He goes, "Yeah, it's just too bad it's not on your radio show."
Bing bang.
So are you a critic of your son's work?
I enjoy listening to it. I really do. He gets me into a lot of trouble here in town, but I go, I'm not my fault. He's the one who said it, not me.
Yeah,
Right.
we're going to run a disclaimer that I don't believe in anything my son says. And we'll run that before every show.
Oh, dude. What are some of the lessons you've learned from your father?
Well, I think life's lessons. I remember when I was young. I was probably in high school, and a girl I was going out with left a note on my windshield saying, "I'm out," of the relationship, which is nice.
That was really classy.
But actually, that's the way I've broken up with girls.
Yeah,
It's very,
the note
very
on the
easy to
windshield.
do, a note on the
Works out.
windshield.
You learned a lot.
And unless it rains, you're gold. But and I remember saying to my dad, I said, "Hey, I was really depressed," and he said, "Never pursue anybody who doesn't want to hang out with you." And I thought, well, that's pretty cool.
That is good.
And I showed him a picture of her, and he said, "Try to get back together with her." Pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty solid.
Tim, what have you learned from your children?
Nothing. Absolutely
Not a thing in the
nothing.
world.
I've learned for them not to buy me gifts anymore because I never use anything.
Yeah.
I learned a community feeling with all of the kids, and you sit around our table at dinner, and after you've paid the check,
Yes.
and it's just to listen to all of them and the different stories and everything. It's well worth all of those wonderful moments I spent with them in their lives so far. The track, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of my greatest takeaways from this father-son conversation is how the act of relaxing during tough times, not making things more serious than they need to be, and getting into the practice of finding humor in the challenges of life, not only adds years to your life, but definitely adds life to your years. What are your family members going to remember about you when you're gone? That you were filled with peace or always agitated? You were happy or you were angry? You laughed a lot or you cried a lot? You elevated the joy in the room or the emotional state stayed the same, or worse yet, you brought the whole room down with your never-ending problems? Are you full of compliments or full of complaints? You get to decide what your relationships look like. You are in charge here. It's true. Maintaining close connections with the generations of your family can create a unique set of challenges all their own. There are members of almost every extended family that I know who are toxic. They're selfish, don't seem to realize it. They cause unnecessary drama. Their egos are out of whack, and they create their own reality and try to force their families to live in that world that they've created and to solve problems that only they have caused and are responsible for. I know. I have a rule that I share with those that I work with in these situations. I say, only defend what is real. That's right, only defend what is real. The moment you step in to fix something that is not reality, you are stepping into a world that does not have the same laws of reality as this one, and you will only make the situation worse by fighting about it, or make it worse by allowing them to think that they are right and justified in their behavior, enabling that person's false sense of what is real. Definitely love them. Never stop loving them, but you don't have to agree or argue with them. Just love them unconditionally. There is such a thing as unconditional love, but don't be confused. There is no such thing on earth or even in heaven as an unconditional relationship. All relationships are based on conditions. Even God himself, who loves you unconditionally, gives you the choice and the conditions that you can either do or not do to be in a saving relationship with him. One of the most famous Bible texts in the world, John 3:16, concludes with the conditions of how to be saved. Quote, that whosoever believes in God will not perish, but will have everlasting life. There are conditions here that will make or break your relationship. God loves you unconditionally. But in order to have a relationship, you have to choose to love him back. He's not going to force a relationship on you. That's love. And that's what many of us have had to deal with too in our earthly relationships. We love some people in our lives and we love them unconditionally. But because they're not loving us back, the conditions of our relationship is broken. And we can't continue to grow together. If this is hitting you hard right now, as you picture one of your loved ones that you're struggling to have a relationship right now, don't beat yourself up just yet. You're in good company here. Many families are facing this too. In fact, there's one family that I'd like for you to spend some time with here that knows all about the good, not so good, and less than beautiful sides of multi-generational relationships. You may have grown up watching Ozzie and Harriet on your black and white TV set, or sang along with their son, Ricky Nelson, or even rocked out with their grandson's band, Nelson. Today, you're going to get to hear from those two grandsons, Matthew and Gunnar, who have earned 5 top 40 hits, 4 #1 MTV videos, and earned platinum status with more than 13 million albums sold worldwide. Today, they share what it was like to be part of that legacy and the importance of each generation's influence. Mike and Lionel had a chance to talk with them, and this is part of their conversation.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Which one's Matthew? Which one's Gunnar? I'm sorry.
We switch off odd and even days.
We flipped the coin. I'm Matthew today.
You Matthew
This
today.
is the other one.
So I want the Chiron to read Matthew Nelson and the other one.
And the other one.
Because he wanted to read Matthew Nelson on the talent.
That's right.
Okay.
But I want to be able to read the Chiron too, because I forget who I am sometimes.
Well, the fact is that your family's got a long legacy of show business, from your grandfather in music and in television, your dad the same, and now you guys. What does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. When we found out that we hit #1 on our birthday, our 22nd birthday, we're the only family, I guess, according to the Guinness Book, to have 3 successive generations of #1 hitmakers in it, which is pretty awesome. The family started in entertainment before that. Local shows, things like that. Our grandmother Harriet's mother was a twin.
Oh, come on.
And they were called Hazel and Hattie. And at the turn of the last century, they were vaudevillians.
So it's even more generations than what I thought.
It goes back. Apparently, one side of our family came to the United States as circus performers from Europe.
Come on.
And it's just something that we've
And the circus continues.
I think
And it does.
It was Hagen Beck Wallace. That was the circus.
That's right. And they got absorbed by Ringling after that. And
is that something to live up to, or is it just something that's fun in your past? What is
Or
that?
something to hide from.
Or hide from, either.
it really honestly is something to be really proud of. It
Yeah.
really truly has been the family business. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter, entertainment or not, if you come from a family that does it. It's great social proof to have around.
Yeah.
You know that it's
Oh, yeah.
possible to do it
Yeah.
and hopefully achieve it at a really high.
Now, this was a powerful conversation. I love their common phrase, the only thing better than a good example is a good bad example. That's really true, isn't it? Most people that I work with either say, I don't want to be anything like my parents, or I wish I could do things just like my parents did. I hear a lot more of the first one than the second one. So generational influence is obviously Very important. And it all really seems to stem from healthy and loving relationships between the spouses who are raising the kids. So perhaps we should spend some quality time talking about what makes happy, healthy, and long-lasting marriages. One Hollywood couple who has discovered some of the secrets to having a successful marriage relationship that has lasted more than 3 decades sat down with us and shared what they consistently do. You'll probably recognize this couple. This husband and wife duo are both very successful and very busy television actors. The husband is Corbin Bernsen, famous for his multiple Emmy and Golden Globe nominated roles on many shows, including LA Law, Psych, JAG, and many, many more. His wife, Amanda Pays, you'll recognize her from her roles in The Flash, Nip Tuck, Seventh Heaven, and The X-Files, and a whole lot more as well. They sat down with our relationship key expert, Mike Tucker, and our attitude key expert, Lionel Mountain, to explore what makes a long-lasting marriage. Let's listen in.
Now, for a marriage to last as long as yours has, in general, is really amazing because it's what, 28, nearly 29 years?
29 years in November.
I'm already going with 30.
Just
I'm rounding up. I'm rounding up to 30.
Put it in the
It just
bag.
sounds good. I like it.
Yeah,
I say
why
30.
not? So, what's been the secret for you?
What has been our secret? Love.
Friendship,
Love.
friendship.
Commitment. Commitment, I think.
That's a nasty word today, isn't it?
Yes and no. It's such a
so.
simple word, though.
It
It's
is.
it's you know, if you take away the, I suppose the contract part of it, commitment is something deeper than a contract.
It's
You
not a
know, I
contract.
was talking to a lawyer the other day, and he said, we make laws and we sign contracts. He said contracts are worthless.
Yeah.
But a commitment is something you do of the heart.
Yeah.
And when you think about crossing the line, when temptation comes to do that, you just go back and think like, wait a minute, I made a commitment,
Right.
a vow.
It's such a rare thing now to find people with commitment. It seems like to almost anything. And you have 4 boys, right?
Yes, we do.
How have you taught them to be able to be people that commit to things?
I don't think you teach so much as show. It's the way you raise your children. Just you have. It's the honesty that we have
Right.
with each other, and the fact that we had children because we wanted a family. Therefore, we wanted to spend time with that family, and we love having dinners with our family and entertaining and.
Wow, that was so great. Did you catch what Corbin shared here? He said, contracts are worthless, but a commitment is something you do of the heart. This is absolutely true, and I love what they both said about this and how they positioned love in its proper place. But my ultimate question here is this. In your relationships, what are you committing to? A life of your happiness or someone else's? Because many people are confused as to which one will actually make you the happiest. Let me explain. You cannot stay married if your goal is to stay married. You can't find love or be loved if your goal is to be loved. You can't raise model kids if your goal is to raise model kids. That's not how it works. And the reason why it doesn't work in these or any other similar desire that you have for your relationships is because these goals are centered around you and what you want. The most common myth that people buy into is that relationships help you get what you want. And that perspective is also why most relationships don't last very long these days. Over the past 27 years, I've done a lot of premarital coaching, and I always ask the starry-eyed couples, so why do you want to get married? And typically, the young man will say something like, well, she's really sweet to me, and she takes care of me when I'm sick, and she brings out the best in me. I feel like I can really open up to her and talk with her like nobody else in the world, and so on. And I asked the poor girl who walked in with this lug, and why do you want to marry this guy? And almost always, I get responses like, well, he makes me feel special by the things that he says and the way he treats me. He says and does all the right things. He takes care of me. He's always there for me. He makes me laugh, etc. And when they're done gushing about all the things that the other person brings into their lives, I smack them over the head with a truly dreadful perspective. From the sounds of it, they actually may not be in love with each other. They may only be in love what they are currently getting from one another. And as many of you know who have been around the block a time or two, what you get from another person before you're married either dries up over time or you grow so accustomed to it that it doesn't feel quite as special after a while, does it? So what are the secrets to amazing, fulfilling relationships? Whether they are marriage relationships, close friendships, or relationships with your kids, grandkids, and others. The first secret is to change your viewpoint of why this person is in your life. As long as you are looking for what you can get out of this relationship, you will always be disappointed. I tell couples, you have to swap your gets with your gives. Instead of looking at what you can get, you have to search for what you can give. What is it that this person in my life needs? What are their short and long-term goals? What are their dreams and aspirations? How can I help them along the way? That's why you're here. That's why God brought them into your life, so that you can help them, give them a boost, support them on their way to achieving their best life. Many people will ask me during our coaching sessions, but what if only one person is giving in the relationship? And I reply, well, then you found yourself in a typical give and take relationship, and the give and take relationships never last because one is always giving and feels like the other is always taking. I tell these young unmarried couples, get out now. Get out while you still can. And I say this difficult truth to them because give and take relationships are not long-term relationships. True love is not transactional. It's not love if you're only giving something so that through a transaction, you'll receive something in return. That's not love, that's business. You have something of value, you give it with a perception of how much it is worth. If the other person offers you little to nothing in return, you feel ripped off and want your stuff back. That's why true love is non-transactional. Also, true love is expressed and experienced when you give, not when you simply appreciate. You understand what I'm saying? You can feel loved when someone else gives of themselves to make your life better. But you cannot turn around and say that I love this person because they make me happy. You appreciate them, but you don't love them. Love is an action verb. You only truly love someone else when you take action to make their life better. So when you say, I love you, you're saying that I have made a commitment to make your life better, to ask you about your goals and dreams, and to do everything in my power to help you accomplish those things. Those goals may not be career or business-minded goals. They may be personal goals, like creating a peaceful environment at home, or increasing their self-image, or finding more zest and spontaneity in life, or finding more joy and laughter in the here and now. Regardless of what it is, if you want to love someone, you have to do so by taking active steps on your part. If you find yourself in a place where you feel like you're doing this and it's not being reciprocated, perhaps you can have a calm, non-threatening conversation about this with your loved one who might be sitting next to you right now. We can help you with this and other communication breakthroughs. If you'd like to dig a little deeper here and connect with some of the best relationship advice out there, I want you to click on the option on this webpage in the interactive section and let us know. We'll communicate back with you some great options to help you have the most love-filled and indestructible relationships. One more thing that I do want us to spend a few moments on is addressing how you approach the differences between you and your loved ones. How do you view those differences? As things that you wish were different in your loved ones? Things that you're actively working on to see them change? Do you see them as threats? As opportunities? I want you to eavesdrop on a conversation that Mike Tucker and I had with a great couple. I think they have a really fresh viewpoint on this matter. The husband is actor John Schneider. You've seen him recently on Dancing with the Stars. but you've seen him over the decades, first as Bo Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard, and then in many other roles, including Superman's father in Smallville and Judge Jim Cryer in Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have-Nots, just to mention a few. He's also co-founded the Children's Miracle Network. His wife, Alicia, is a TV and film producer, and here is what they had to say about how to view the differences between you and your loved ones.
So we came into the relationship both with a toolbox full of tools. And the great thing is that Alicia doesn't have any of my tools in her toolbox, and I don't have any of her tools in mine, because
if two of us are the same, one of us is unnecessary.
I absolutely love their attitude and perspective on how to address the differences that they face. If both of us are the same, one of us is unnecessary. They understand that one of the gifts of relationship is that extra set of eyes and ears. You get a different perspective that you would never be privy to had you gone through that experience all by yourself. You have extra suggested solutions to your life challenges. You have an extra brain and mind and heart that oftentimes will disagree with you and force you to question your position. This is not a bad thing. If your position is a strong one, you'll be able to explain it without getting all defensive about it. But if you find yourself getting angry and agitated that they're even questioning your decisions, that's a powerful sign to you that you're not completely confident yourself in the choices or positions that you've made. So just relax. The people around you can make you stronger, healthier, and happier. The one major caveat here, though, is that some of the ways that others in your life differ from you may not be the healthiest, truly have your best in mind, or even be filled with love for you. There are, unfortunately, a large number of people in the world who are just looking out for themselves and, quite frankly, are just using you to get what they want. They don't care about your life goals and wouldn't even think of sacrificing to support any of them. The Bible mentions in 2 Corinthians 6, verse 14, that you should avoid relationships with others who are, quote, unequally yoked. Now, that's a strange metaphor to us today because when we talk about yolks, we're typically talking about the yellow parts of eggs, but this is something quite different, and it's spelled different too. A yoke from ancient times is a wooden bar that joins two oxen to each other into a plow or a wagon that they both pull. An unequally yoked duo has one stronger ox and one weaker, or one that is taller and one that is shorter. The weaker or the shorter ox would walk more slowly than the taller, stronger one, causing the plow or the wagon to always veer off away from the intended destination. When the oxen are unequally yoked, they cannot get from point A to point B. Instead of working together, they pull each other apart. Being equally yoked means that you share the same passions and you're working on the same strengths in the areas of spirituality, values, love, and purpose. I could do a 20-hour session just on this aspect. It's so rich and important. But don't worry, I'm not going to leave you all alone to figure this out. I'd love to continue to support your growing relationships even after this event. We have an online resource blog and weekly email tips from Lifestyle Magazine's relationship key expert, Mike Tucker, and our amazing team that we call Mad About Marriage. It's absolutely free to sign up, and you'll receive relationship tips helping you stay madly in love forever. You can cancel it anytime, so click on the link on the interactive section on this webpage to connect with this resource right away. There is so much more that we could cover on this key today, but we're out of time, and I hope that you've clicked on some of the resources available so that we can continue to partner together with you to build your indestructible life and indestructible relationships. Now, tomorrow we conclude this event with what is absolutely the most powerful key to your entire life experience. When you connect fully with this fifth key, every other key area of your life is radically launched to its huge, mammoth potential. This is the key where everything takes off with levels of success that you didn't even know were possible. I can't wait to share this with you. We'll see you next time.